Hello there, this is Michaela. Today I'm going to be filming outside for two reasons. First, I'm sure you're all exhausted of staring at the inside of my room with just my walls for scenery. Second, I think that looking at flowers will supplement motivational feelings, which is always what I'm endeavoring to do with my videos. My dad likes to landscape, and that's why we have all these gardens around our yard. These right here are my favorite flowers, the blue hydrangeas. Now that the sun is setting, it's finally cooling off after another hot day, like almost 90 degrees. So now I'm finally coming outside after hiding in my room all day from the heat. I just want to add that I'm making this video because I graduated in June, and I feel like it's sort of a rite of passage, you know, now that I've graduated, for me to reflect on my past 4 years as a high schooler and think about what I could have done that was better. So I'm going to be sharing those reflections with you today. Good girl. Looking back at high school, I feel like there's not that many things I would change, but there's just things I wish I had known beforehand, which would make everything easier as I went through it. And there are 10 primary things I thought of, which I'm going to delve into. Number 1, don't wait to start an extracurricular. Start and try as many as you want in your freshman year, because then you'll have 4 years of it on your resume when you apply to college. If you begin several extracurriculars in junior year, that's fine, but just make sure that you have some that last a little bit longer than that, or else your application will be filled with things that are just 2 years, 1 year. It just doesn't look as thorough as if you'd started in your freshman year. Number 2, your note-taking method does matter. And I am sorry if you're partial to Cornell notes, but Cornell notes are clunky and not efficient, and in my opinion, just a waste of time and space. So what I prefer to do is do handwritten bullet notes. I made the mistake also of using my laptop to take notes. Don't do this, because I ended up with so many more notes than I needed because I can type relatively quickly, and I was putting down word for word what my teacher was saying, which inevitably gave me way too much information to study through. Write them out. It forces you to be more concise, as well as helps you retain the information that you're putting down. Here's what my notes typically look like. I use Roman numerals, and then I branch off with letters, bullets, numbers to get more specific. Okay, you do not need to know what schools you're applying to until like the summer between your junior and senior year. I am very guilty of this. I'm not saying it's not good to start a list. I think it's very good to start a list in your freshman year. What I'm saying is don't hone in on one school and limit yourself from exploring other ones. Don't confine yourself to one idea when really things can change, and if the future is so mutable, everything could really change. So I would keep a list that you edit, but don't say, I'm going to this school, because then it's only going to bring you limitations and disappointments. Okay, this one's huge. Get to know your teachers. This is for a couple of reasons. Number 1, it makes school much more fun when you actually like your teachers and you get along with them and you know a bit about them. Second, if your teachers like you, it gives you a good academic reputation, which does not hurt on the rare occasion that you forget your homework, because then they'll forgive you. The most crucial part of getting to know your teachers is that it makes getting a recommendation from them so much easier. Because I applied for college last year, and as a not social person, it was very awkward to go up to teachers and say, hey, can you write me a recommendation, please, if you want to? So if you get to know them and you're friendly with them, it makes that so much easier, and they'll be much more willing to write you a glowing recommendation if they know you well. Always ask your teacher if you can raise your grade. Even if you think the answer is going to be no, it's still a good idea to ask, because again, if you have that good relationship with your teacher, then they might be willing to actually let you raise the grade, even if they weren't providing extra credit to begin with. And I mean, I guess really, if you're really focused on your GPA, this is when it matters. If you don't care so much about your GPA, you can kind of ignore this tip. But for me, I feel like it was beneficial in the end. If I was 15 points lower than I wanted to on a quiz, for example. It's okay, puppies. Hey, kitty, kitty, kitty. Hey. I've completely lost my train of thought. But anyway, it's worth it to go up to your teacher and just say, hey, I'm assuming the answer is no, but if there's any way I can raise my grade, could I do that, please? Because what's the worst that could happen? Number 6 is to utilize your breaks well. If you have extra time during a study hall, a lunch, any time during the day, do your homework then. It's really good for mental health, I believe, to have a distinction between school and home. And the more homework you can get done at school, the less you'll have to do at home. Utilizing those breaks well will help you to be more relaxed when you get home and enjoy your own free time. Number 7, keep your Google Drive organized. This is something I did not do. And when our school emails were being shut down this year, I had to transfer everything, and it took a very long time to get it from my school email to my personal email. So whether you have a school-issued device or a school-issued email, make sure you keep everything very organized, because when you become a senior and you graduate, it's going to be so much easier if you can quickly get all that information onto a new device. Number 8, no one cares, which sounds very depressing, but it's kind of true, but in a good way. If you do something embarrassing or awkward, literally so few people are going to notice, I promise you. And even if they do notice, they're probably not going to remember. The amount of times I felt awkward if my friends were absent that day or something and I had to sit alone at lunch, I felt very, very self-conscious. I was not a very confident person. But if you can just learn to enjoy yourself and not worry too much about what others think, your time is going to be so much more enjoyable. I know that it's very hard to not imagine what others are thinking about you, but if you can, try not to worry too much, because you have your whole future ahead of you and it's just not worth it to worry about it. I think I still am making that mistake, so I probably should heed my own advice. But if you can, just do your own thing. Number 9, courses matter. I think I've talked about this before if you've watched my videos. Always take the most challenging courses available to you, because if you don't, colleges are going to notice that. And if you want to get into a top school, you've got to be taking those honors courses, the AP, the IB, whatever your school offers, take it, the hardest ones possible. Number 10 is to get your requirements out of the way. You do not want to be a senior in a gym class. I almost was. Thankfully, my track credits pulled through because I did track and it counted as a gym credit. If it hadn't, I would have been a very unfortunate person. So don't save your required classes for the end of your high school career. Leave that so you can have more freedom. Get it all done at the beginning. Lastly, this is kind of a bonus one because of COVID. Appreciate your time in high school. I was not a fan of high school. I was constantly looking ahead to the future and what college I want to go to. I was always working on my lists, always just looking into the future. And when I left school March 13th of 2020, I had no idea that it would be my last day of high school due to coronavirus. And I hardly even remember what happened that day because I just assumed that I would be returning the next week. And while I wouldn't want to go back to high school, I wish that I had appreciated it more. I wish that I had enjoyed my last week more, because I didn't enjoy my last week. I didn't know it was my last week. Relish the time that you have. The 4 years goes by quicker than a blink of an eye. I promise you. High school is going to end someday before you know it. So while you're in it, have fun, enjoy living with your parents, and enjoy your friends that you've known for so many years, and just don't take it for granted. That concludes my list of tips I wish I had known when I was entering high school. Of course, feel free to stick around for the brief remainder of the video, because I couldn't help but put in some videos of the flowers and the pond and my dogs. It was just such a lovely evening when I filmed this, and right now, more than ever, in a global pandemic, I think we could use some summer in Maine ambiance. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your summer, and I hope that you are excited for high school if you haven't started, or if you are in high school, have a good rest of your career in high school. I said that a lot of times. Anyway, happy summer.